Welcome to the Hollow Chord Podcast.
We are live.
All right, everybody, welcome to this week's episode of the Hollow Chord Podcast. I'm Vinny Keller, here with Bill Riley
Yo.
and Dan Steinman,
Hey.
also known as Stuffed Crust Steinbaum.
That's a good one. All right, today we are joined by Bob Meadows, current vocalist of Mindpower and Left to Vanish, and ex-vocalist of A Life Once Lost. Here's that conversation. Bob, what's up, man?
Yeah, there you go.
Can you hear us?
Hey, what's going on?
What's up,
Yeah, I
dude?
can hear you.
Awesome.
How's it going?
Good. How's the beach?
I don't have anyone really around me.
Oh,
It's
that's
always
awesome.
a plus, right?
Yeah, that seems wonderful.
Yeah, I mean, there's a crowd over there, but I don't want to be around them.
No, fuck them. Thanks for doing this with us. We appreciate it.
Yeah, not a problem. Dude, not a
Appreciate
problem.
your time, especially on your off day on the beach.
Yeah, you asked me to do it. I'm going to do it. I'm not going to not do it. I love doing this shit.
Oh, awesome. Well, we are big fans of you and your bands, so it's definitely
Oh, fuck yeah.
definitely great for you to be on. So, I mean, let's just get started. Tell us about your musical history. Like, where did you begin with being in bands and being a vocalist?
How'd you get into metal in general?
I wasn't really into metal when I first started. I mean, middle school, I listened to a lot of hip hop, and then slowly rolled into like punk and grunge. And I met this kid when I was working at a place called Ultrazone laser tag place down in Ben Salem, and he showed me Shelter and like Sam Black Church, and it just kind of like knocked my socks off a little bit. Just move into that world. Ended up meeting. I met Vadim Tabor at a show, an Inca Dagger show at Stalag 13, like 1999 or like 2000. They couldn't find their singer. Their singer was like MIA, Mike Makes from like Nailed Right In and fucking Activate and shit.
Mm-hmm.
So he wasn't, I guess, returning their phone calls or something like that. So they said he was missing, even though he wasn't missing. But yeah, they hit me up. They had a show with This Day Forward and Audience of One. I just kind of showed up, did my thing, broke a microphone. After the show, they asked me to be in the band. And we slowly evolved from being that hardcore sound to more of that like Meshuggah influence with like that like touch of like that Pantera and Sabbath kind of vibe to it.
Nice. So this was A Life Once Lost. This was early A Life Once Lost.
Yeah. That's the first band I was.
That's awesome. First band you were in that took you around the world, right?
Yeah. I was lucky. I was very, very fortunate.
Yeah.
You know, I won't say that no one deserves anything. It's kind of the right place at the right time. I think me booking shows in Ben Salem definitely helped the band elevate to a certain point. Definitely being able to like do favors, you know, booking one band, being able to get a show in another city. That's kind of how it worked back in the day.
Yeah,
Right.
networking seemed to play a big role in that.
Oh yeah. I mean, we caught the attention of a lot of people early on in our career, and we morphed, you know. And there was no record that really had the same sound throughout our entire career. I mean, the closest one would probably be like Hunter into Iron Gag, but you can hear like a weird progression into just like being like not working with producers, being more self-produced, kind of doing what we wanted to do, but using the elements and the knowledge that we were able to obtain from you know, fucking Rob Casciano, Eddie Wool, and even for me, like Randy Blythe from Lamb of God.
Right.
You know, he definitely helped me elevate myself and push myself a little further, a little harder. It made more sense. And then I was able to kind of touch back on all like the hip hop stuff I liked. I like the rhythms. I like their flow, being able to go around like the music. And I just never wanted to be that straightforward, like, singing on like the one or the two or whatever you want to call it. Like, I always tried to make it like eccentric and unique.
Right. I think you accomplished that big time.
Oh yeah. I mean, I'm not tooting my own horn, but I think that I'm very unique with myself, where I can approach a song completely 100% different than any other vocalist out there. But that's what makes us people. So I guarantee you, if you gave 10 vocalists that one track, every fucking track would sound a little bit different.
Right, absolutely. Yeah, I remember listening to Iron Gag. Hunter was the first record I got from you guys, and I know Vinny and I over here would jam it all the time. But when I got Iron Gag, like, I was like, oh shit, these guys changed up their sound, which is good because I personally like that. Like, you can't make the same record over and over.
You can't, and that's a progression in music. It exists within metal. Not a lot of metal bands, they find that one safe spot where they acquired a lot of fans and they just try to improve on that one sound. That was never our goal as a band, as a Life Once Lost. We always kind of wanted to just try to make it better. And I mean, Ecstatic Trance, what definitely was not a favorite amongst critics and our fans, but it was a record that's naturally where we were going in our lives, especially with the influence that we kind of incorporated into that record. Right.
We were actually just talking about that record, and I was saying how much I enjoyed it. But I noticed that due to the lineup change, like when you lost Justin and got your new drummer, the drumming's vastly different. It's very brought, I guess, tamed down. There's a lot of just one kick.
Pocket.
Very pocket drumming. Exactly.
Yeah, that was Doug's intention with writing that record. It was the same way with a great artist. Like a great artist, like he had the vision of making that so that it was like just that one solid tempo throughout the entire album.
Mm-hmm.
With Ecstatic Trance, it was let's pull the drums away from our music, let our music be like heard just a little bit more without having the double bass, without having the bass player that plays like a guitar player. We wanted to find that rhythm, and I think that we accomplished that very well. That's a record that I can still actually go back to nowadays, and I can still like listen to it and be very proud of it.
Yeah, I would be, because that's definitely a good progression for sure. But I could see why critics wouldn't be into it.
Yeah, they always considered us to be that Junior Meshuggah thing before like the gent scene was popular.
Mm-hmm.
Like we were doing things that like bands like Scar Symmetry and Sixth over in the UK were doing. We were doing our same thing, but we just kind of took our own approach and incorporated that, like, at the time, what was popular, that Southern rock influence into hardcore. You definitely, right around that period of time, you started hearing more and more and more of that. But yeah, it was, you're supposed to progress. Progression is life.
Right. And then the critics, they want Vulture and like Pain and Panic over and over and over.
Yeah.
Those real
we're there's no double bass, so I hear boom, ka, boom, ka, and it's just get over it. It's not going to be that. It's never going to be that again. That was the band then. This is the band now. You have to love it or leave it, and a lot of people left it. I'm okay with that.
Right. Now, you guys were on Ferret prior to doing Ecstatic Trance, and you moved to Season of Mist. What was that transition? Did you get dropped from Ferret, or was your contract up with Ferret, and then you just moved to Season of Mist? How'd that go?
There was a lot of things that kind of arose within that situation. Definitely a very large investment into Hunter. And with the album being 2 years old and us jumping on Ozfest 2006, we kind of ran out of money. So then Iron Gag comes out, where our budget is more than cut in half, probably cut in 3/4. And we kind of had to budget everything. We did what we could, but it just never clicked. It never hit. We didn't have the budget. We didn't have the money to jump on bigger tours, to be exposed more. And the album sales weren't as good as Hunter's. Hunter worldwide, we did very, very well for ourselves. But the Iron Gag just didn't hit the same way that hit. It was a mutual decision with Carl, with the bands. We took home with Season of Mist. I knew Gordon Conrad for a very long time from booking shows, whether it was in my house with escape artist bands or just seeing him just around town, like he was always a great guy. He was always a fan of the band. And it was just a nice thing to be able to link up with him, to work with him. I mean, shit, he was responsible for that crushing, like, 2000s, like, Relapse catalog. Like, he was the man behind it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I think from, like, 97, 98 to whenever, like, he was the guy signing these bands, bringing these bands in, like Mastodon, Dillinger, the fuck's that other band? There's another band I was thinking of. I forgot, but yeah, he was good. I enjoyed working with him. You know, he definitely had a way of marketing, a way of working, a way of making you feel like it was valuable. So it was just it was an even departure with Ferret, and we found ourselves on Season of Mist.
Nice. So was there, did you owe Ferret any money after you guys left? And how does that work?
I have no idea. I didn't deal with him.
Oh, okay. Just fuck him, right?
No, it ain't my money, dude. I'm for sure. So, you know, I'm thankful that he believed in this as much as he did, Carl. Mm-hmm. And at the time, I mean, Ferret was hot. You know, you had like Every Time I Die. You had the Bronx, Funeral for a Friend. What was the other? There was another band.
Killswitch was on there right around that time, right?
Yeah, exactly. So you had a lot of bands that generated a lot of revenue for that label. For him to come after us the way he did, and us sign. I mean, I couldn't have asked for anything better with Hunter. Mm-hmm. I mean, it was that was probably some of the most fun I've ever had, like going out on tour and shit. And then finally not being able to have to book our own tours and getting hooked up with the agents and the right people around you. It just made your job that much easier, where you can just basically focus on writing music, the practice, and then going out and touring and making every show the best fucking show you could make it.
Right. Absolutely. So how was that Ozfest tour? We heard in a previous interview that like you were one of the only bands in a van. Were you ever guys?
No. Ozfest, we shared a bus with the Red Chord.
Okay.
Which they didn't like very.
No. Why was that?
But we're a stoner band, you know what I mean? So what's the first thing you want to do when you get on a tour bus?
Oh, smoke up, right?
Yeah, exactly. You know what I mean? So that didn't go over very well. And we were overloaded in the bus to begin with. I think we were rolling. We had 3, 6. I think we only had like 12 bunks, maybe 14 bunks in that tour bus. And then we had 2 people sleeping in the back lounge and 1 person sleeping in the front. Like, we were completely overloaded. The air conditioning didn't work. It was fucking horrible. But I think the 2005 Sounds of the Underground tour, we definitely did that in a van. And that was probably one of the hardest, like, tours just to keep up with.
Mm-hmm. That was the tour I was thinking of. I'm sorry.
Yeah. The one with, it was like Lamb of God, Clutch, Guar, Opeth.
Yep.
It was awesome, man. Trust me, it was absolutely fucking incredible. But I would give that back any day of the fucking week just to be in a fucking bus. That was grueling drives, but it was still fucking awesome. You're playing in front of a lot of fucking people.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, I know exactly what you mean. I used to tour in a band called Obsidian Sky, and we toured in a van.
Yeah.
And, like, the band was super small. I mean, we played some pretty decent shows, but like the drives sometimes are grueling for sure.
Yeah,
so
especially when you hit like when you're hitting like the Midwest, those drives are gnarly. Mm-hmm. East Coast aren't bad. West Coast isn't bad. I mean, even the whole like northern part of the country wasn't that bad, but it's like right in that middle of the country. Those drives are very, 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 very long.
Oh yeah,
very
absolutely.
long.
Especially when you get into like Texas and whatnot. Those are rough.
I know that we only did in the U.S. We were only on a bus twice. Once with the Red Chord during Ozfest, and then we toured with Napalm Death, and we got to share a bus with them, which was kind of badass. Mm-hmm. We were a van band. I mean, our one of our last tours that we did as a band, we actually went out and we bought a box truck, and we converted it into like almost like an RV. So we had bunks in there and shit, which is completely 100% not fucking safe at all.
No way.
Underneath, we mounted a generator underneath. We had an air conditioner in there. So if we ever pulled over, we just fired the generator up, fucking loaded up, and we were on our way. It was definitely badass. But that box truck died in Texas. So it was a nightmare and a blessing.
So you said during the Hunter album cycle, you guys are doing well for yourselves. Was that enough to sustain like your lives and not have to get jobs when you're home from tour, or was that never like a feasible thing for a Life Once Lost?
We always worked when we got home. We weren't making like crazy money. Like we would come home, we would do well enough that I was able to come home. At the time, I didn't have a car, you know, so I lived in the city right in like Fishtown with Doug, and basically all that was important to me was, you know, making sure my rent was paid. I had food when I got home, and I had a big bag of weed, you know, and that was literally like my only priorities. If we were home for like, you know, 2-3 weeks, I would go to work with my dad. My dad did construction. So I would just pick up like, you know, like little stupid odd end things with him when I was home, just to kind of, you know, help like keep the savings there, keep my checking account afloat. But it was never like I was able to go out and buy a house. I was never able to get like fancy cars. It was never like that. Touring wasn't like that, but we took it to a level, or we had it at a level, I should say, where we were able to do that full time. You know, we didn't have like real jobs. Our real job was, you know, getting in the van, showing up to the show on time, playing a killer set, and then being on our way.
Nice. Yeah, speaking of killer sets, and I was talking to your buddy John Hunt about it, which he was supposed to be on right before you, but I guess he got caught up with his flight or something. He was going on a flight today. And he said that you were one of the best people to tour with, by the way, so... Yeah,
he's just being polite.
We'll ask him about that. But
that was always the thing where we had a Philadelphia sense of humor.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So we were kind of like ball busters, stuff like that. It never went over the way that we always thought it would go over.
Of course.
We definitely made friends with people that could people that understood us and shit. And fuck, Dead to Fall, that was one of our first Midwest shows. Me and John became friends online. I kind of liked what he was doing with Dead to Fall. He liked what I was doing with Life Once Lost. This is like right about the Fourth Plague era. And so I take my drummer, who was 15 at the time. We got him out of school early. And our bass player was 15. And then we proceed to drive all the way to Chicago. Mm-hmm. And actually, we had a show in Cincinnati that got canceled. We ended up like crashing at some like random like chick's house or something like that. It was fucking funny as fuck. Fucking greenheads everywhere. So we ended up crashing some house. We ended up going to Chicago. A house was being evicted, and Dead to Fall was playing the show, and then that's how we ended up meeting all those guys. I think later on we ended up doing a tour with them, and Between the Buried and Me, with a tour with them, Darkest Hour, Himsa.
Yeah, that was the tour I was about to mention about John Hunt, because I saw you guys on the Undoing Ruin tour at the First Unitarian Church, and that was with Himsa.
Oh yeah,
the Acacia Strain, A Life Once Lost, Darkest Hour. I mean, it was the sickest tour. It's still to this day probably the sickest metal tour or metal show I've ever seen. That was just gnarly all night.
Yeah, that was a very, very awesome tour for us. That definitely put our names out there very well. I mean, Darkest Hour at that time, they were on Victory. They were a hot band. A lot of people were starting to get into them, and then it was awesome. I think that tour, we ended up getting like a barbecue at like a thrift store or something, like a little like shitty, really tiny barbecue. And I think every show we ended up barbecuing at every fucking show, like burgers, hot dogs. We were tired of eating like whatever we were eating like on the road, but it was cool. You know, I had a lot of really good memories with that band. Definitely crossing. I don't know if you ever mentioned anything about the Tijuana when we were touring with them. we played a show down in Tijuana. And so we cross the border. We end up playing the show. I end up getting trashed on tequila.
Mm-hmm.
I'm drinking water out of the vase at this bar that we're playing at. You know, I was completely 100% out of fucking control. Crossing back into the U.S., I'm sitting here and I'm talking shit to some dude in a car next to us. And I believe the dude was like Mexican maybe or something. I don't know. Like I don't have any problems with Mexicans, you know what I mean? But I was just sitting there like saying something to him. I have no idea what I was saying. And what happens, this guy gets the fuck out of the car, comes over, punches like the side mirror of the van. John Hunt's driving. He's the only one sober in the van at this point. And he was just like instantly I saw him go from like 0 to 50, 0 to 75. And just like that, bang. He's screaming at us, shut the fuck up, shut the fuck up. Here comes Border Patrol walking up. And then John, being, again, the only sober one in the van, he's like, yeah, that dude right there. He punched our window, knocked our window out. All of a sudden, that car gets stopped. They're surrounded by like 6 or 7 dudes with like M16s and shit. We're like, oh my God. And we got the fuck out of there. We got the fuck out of there. It was wild, man. Definitely a lot of wild experiences like that.
That's crazy.
That's that Philly sense of humor, man. You say a couple of things you think are funny, and all of a sudden, here comes the situation.
We played a lot of college towns, and if we went out like late night around like that area and stuff, like, oh, those people just didn't know how to take us. They didn't know how to get the sense of humor that we were trying to lay down. Us trying, like, we think it's funny, but they don't think it's funny. And then all of a sudden, it's like a big fucking, like, we're getting a little scuffle here or there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I've definitely tasers pulled on me like multiple times, like dropped it to the ground. It was always fun. Put it that way.
You got to keep it interesting, man.
Oh, you have to. If you live like that boring, like, oh, we're just gonna play the show, go back to the room, go to bed. There's no fun in that. You got to live your life. You live once, right?
Yeah, man.
Doesn't
How did you get everybody on tour so young? You said you had 2 guys who are 15 years old. So
I would say I had a way with words.
A silver-tongued devil, you say?
Yeah. No, I literally sat down with all their parents. Every single one of them. I think Vadim was 16. Doug was 16. I was like 19 or 20. TJ, the first tour we ever did, I think TJ was 14. Rich Arnold was 14. And I literally sat them all down. Like, Rich's parents were separated, so I met up with both of them. I talked to them. I told them, I'm like, listen, you know what I mean? Like, I'm straight edge. Like, I don't drink, I don't smoke weed, I don't do anything like that. Like, they're going to be fine. You know, just let me, like, take care of them, and I'll make sure that I have them back, you know, all in one piece. They're not missing any fingers or anything like that. And every parent was like, all right, sounds fun. So TJ didn't. No. He didn't have graduation then. But yeah, I was able to get them all out for like a month. Like, we just did like East Coast and kind of up through like not the middle of the country. I don't even think we hit Texas, but we just kind of hit Louisiana and we just worked our way right back up. But the shows were out of control. All awesome. A lot of fucking fun. Yeah. I was able to talk them all into it. And I mean, a lot of them have gone on to like pretty like good musical careers. I mean, TJ played with a band like Lions, and they were getting looked at by like MCA Records back in the day. I mean, Doug has the Ecstatic Vision.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, everyone's coming in now. Doug, he's been all over Europe and stuff. Dean Taver, he ended up playing This Day Forward. He plays in Poison the Well now. They just did that Psycho Las Vegas. So everybody went on to continue music except for Rich. Rich is now I think he's a bartender in the city, but he also does like he works at a I want to say he works at a rehab facility, but I could be wrong. But I know that he had his little troubles in the past, and he went on to actually like beat the shit out of his demons, and he helps other people now. You know, dude's fucking great.
That's awesome, man. That is great, dude. So you said you booked a lot of that stuff yourself in the early days. How difficult was that, having to line up, you know, full tours?
It was it was easier than what bands in like the 80s had to do in the 90s, where you didn't have the internet and you got to make like phone calls and you got to call people, got to get phone numbers. Like me, it was just like, I met a band and I'd be like, yo, you have any contacts out here for this? And they're like, oh, yo, hit this dude up. And then it just kind of built from there, you know? So once we hit that first city, you know, we would try to go back again. Next time we went back, you know, if there was 20 people the first time, there's 50 people the second time. You go back, now there's 150 the third time. But it was just kind of one of those things. Just the networking then was different. Like everybody was more willing to share their contacts instead of being selfish and saying, oh, just let me book it and just give me a percentage. I always like that mentality of the networking and we're kind of all in it together type of vibe instead of we're against each other and this is going to be like a football game. Right.
Yeah, it's more of a family setting when everybody's willing to share what they have, you know what I mean? Just get along.
Exactly. And that's important in music, you know, like when we toured and the level that we toured on, there was a lot of competition amongst everyone that existed. And we felt it on every fucking tour. And there was just always these dick-offs with other bands and shit. And it was just lame. Yeah. It was lame. And I just missed the whole fucking aspect of like, you know, we were all in this together kind of thing. And you know, we're touring, when we toured like Between the Buried and Me, dude, it was so much fucking fun. You know, that band blew up to be something like huge and successful, but man, like there were some wild nights and all those dudes are straight edge. You know what I mean? We all like drank and smoked, but we were able to still get along and get together because we were part of that. We were part of this crew called like the Snob Crew. You know, so it's like us, Between the Buried and Me, Black Dahlia Murder, The Red Chord, Premonitions of War. There was like 5-6 bands that were super tight. And in the beginning, we always toured together and toured with each other. And we always helped each other. You know, that was the beautiful thing about playing music at that time.
That's great, man, when you can have that kind of a support system, even though it's not, you know, all from your band, supporting each other. I mean, you're still furthering the cause. You're still getting, you know, everybody in the metal world better recognition like that.
Exactly. And that's what it's all about. It's all about recognition. It's all about helping your friends. Like at a certain point, you stopped helping them and you just competed against them. You know, like Ozfest was one fucking huge example. It was so competitive there. And it just like kind of, I never wanted to change my style. I was never a front man to be like, come on, pussies, fucking move it, wall to wall, let's fucking do this shit. If you move and you're, you know, it's like, that's stupid. You know what I mean? Like I play the shows on stage, jumping in the crowd, just like I would if I was playing Kill Time.
Yeah.
Or Funorama or something like that. That was always my mentality. This is where I came from, and I never forgot where I came from. And another example, 2005, we're playing Philadelphia, Sounds of the Underground tour. And this dude from On Demand comes up to me and wants me to wear like this Music Choice shirt on stage. And I'm like, I laughed at him. I'm like, no, I'm not going to wear that. I'm not going to do that. I'm not your fucking billboard, dude. Yeah. And then he looked at me like I was crazy. And then here, who do I see come out in that same T-shirt that was offered to me? Randy Blythe from Lamb of God. And I was just like, this is wild. Like, but then again, I mean, look what they went on to look what I did. You know, like if I was just a little bit more like open-minded to doing something like that, like let me scratch their back, they'll scratch my back kind of thing.
Yeah.
And that's the way I probably should have taken it. But I have morals, I guess. You know what I mean? Like I saw what I was doing, where I wanted to be, and that's not the front man I want it to be.
Damn straight, man. I mean, if that's what you think, it's better to do what you do. You know what I mean? Don't be somebody you're not. It doesn't benefit you.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, definitely staying strong by your convictions.
But that's the catch-22. The whole thing is that like, it actually could have benefited the band. It could have benefited us. We could have taken us from where we went, and it could have maybe threw us like 2-3 steps higher. The fact that I was more like outgoing like that as a front man, but like when we played, I mean, I was too busy smashing microphones in my face or fucking jumping in the crowd or just getting people like so fired up. Like it was an intensity thing for me. It was me letting out like aggression, you know, like that's the whole reason I wanted to play music. Is I was an angry, depressed fucking person before I started doing it. Yeah. The facade fucking is real on this one. You know, like I could sit there and fake the funk on that nasty dunk all day, but deep down inside, like I had a lot of fucking problems, and that was the best way for me to release that. Better than a therapist.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. I need to go to therapy because I had the stage, I had the band, I had the platform. I could sit there and write my lyrics and express the way I feel through song and dance. You know what I mean?
right.
Like,
Is that where your lyrics stem from? All depression and anger and
yeah, everything is very like personal. Like I was never very political. I'm still not very political. You know, I don't know enough I know enough to hold a conversation, but as soon as I hit a point where like I feel like I'm being kind of dogged a little bit in the conversation, kind of back off and just kind of forget about it.
Right.
It's not interesting to me. I'd rather talk about things I'm comfortable with, and that's a human relationship.
Yeah.
You know?
There's so many other things to talk about.
Exactly. You know, life, love, death. You know, there's a million and one topics that you can talk about. I'd rather talk about that than sit here and I don't give two fucks who the fuck's our president. You know, like
right.
the government system in my eyes is very corrupt and evil. I just don't trust them. I don't like it.
Yeah, I feel you on that. So these days, are you just as happy, or I'm sorry, just as angry and depressed, or you feeling a lot better? And if so, like, did your Mindpower and Left to Vanish lyrics reflect that?
Definitely the Mindpower. The Mindpower lyrics were very, that whole series, that whole Q series that we put out was very, very spot on.
Yeah, that was a cool release.
Yeah. Lyrically, it was my life from the time that I left The Life Once Lost to the moment to like pretty much the end of that record cycle. You know, when that last Q4 came out, like that was it. I literally put everything I had into it lyrically. That was one of the hardest records for me to write lyrically, just because it was beyond fucking, like, it was really just different level personal shit. It was nice to be able to get it off my chest. And the whole concept of that record was, I stemmed that up, actually driving up to Wilkes-Barre to hang out with those dudes and practice. And I was just thinking about it. And I'm like, you know what? Like, why are we going to sit here and do a full length? Every band out there does full lengths all the fucking time. You literally listen to 2-3 songs of it, and it just either A, it all sounds the same, B, just gets boring.
Right.
You know, it loses you. It doesn't have any flow. It's too long. I want to say, for my scientific research that I've made, it's literally like you're never going to hold the attention span of a human being nowadays with the social media and how everything works. You know, so why not just give them like just banger songs?
Yeah.
Let them decide what they want to listen to and make it short and sweet. You know, 12 to 15 minutes, and that's it. And that's what we did. And we definitely, right about the Q3 series, I mean, shit, our fucking monthly listeners on Spotify, even though that doesn't matter, but on Spotify it went from about like 300 something to about 10,000.
Nice.
Just because that's a massive fucking jump in it.
Yeah.
And then you started to see, and after that, which is like odd, and I'm not saying that we created that whole concept, but right after that was released, you saw Acacia Strain do the Decay EP series.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Which was awesome. You know what I mean? Like, this is the way bands should be releasing records, but it's, I don't know. I think the full length is dead. There's certain bands out there that can do it. There's certain bands that can't. I think a lot of younger bands should just focus on just putting EPs out, attract that attention, pull that attention in, and then eventually, like, you know, release that like opus, that beautiful swan song of an album, and there it is. You know.
Yeah. That's great. So
it's my personal.
No, I agree with you. I mean, the way music has changed over the past 15 years or so, like, you have to adapt with it. And one of the ways to adapt is exactly what you said. knowing that we're not going to be able to keep the attention span of the newer generation. And even, I mean, myself, I find myself listening to a few songs of a record and then wanting to listen to something new. So doing like the 4 to 5 max songs on an EP, I think is the way to go. So you guys nailed it on the head there.
Yeah, just some kind of evil mastermind shit.
Yeah. Are there any future plans for Mindpower, or is that just a limited release?
We have a song that we've been kind of tooling around with that we might release. I think it might be just like here and there kind of things, but nothing really set in stone.
Okay.
So is Left to Vanish your bread and butter right now, as far as music goes?
I do a few things like here and there. It'll be me and the drummer of Mindpower. We did a band, Distant Laughter, and I kind of did a different like vocal approach to that, where it's a little bit more like highs with like that real heavy like southern, like almost like a Iron Monkey kind of like vibe going on there. Then there was you got Left to Vanish obviously, and I just did another song with them. And then I have another band that it's kind of like in the works. We've jammed a few times, but the band Time, a few of those guys in that band. We have a band called Weep. That sounds more of like an Ink and Dagger Dead Guy kind of a thing. That was my whole concept to go into that vocally, was to really like push that like Tim Singer, that real destructive sound like from his voice, like Fixation on a Coworker, like era kind of Dead Guy. So yeah, that's kind of what I liked about that. About to get crushed by some waves here. No, I'm kidding.
So you Left to Vanish did a song with Jesse Leach, Healthy. How did that come about?
Sean Sam, he actually hit him up and just asked. Jesse seemed interested. They sent him the song. Jesse liked it. Then we sent him the song with my vocals on it, and he was like, "Oh, okay, damn, this is good. I would love to be a part of it." And then there, brought him down for the video shoot, which was nice. So it was cool. You know what I mean? Like I'd never met Jesse prior to that. We played with Killswitch when Howard was in the band.
Gotcha.
We never got the opportunity to play when Jesse was in the band. So this is the second incarnation of Killswitch. We got to play with them a few times.
Nice.
But
nice.
Yeah.
So let me ask you a question, and I don't need a dollar figure or anything, but does it cost money to get somebody like Jesse Leach, or because of who you guys are?
Of course.
Okay.
Of course.
Okay.
What do you think? He's fucking going to do it out of the good grace of his heart for the music?
Well, you being this from a life once lost, who knows? You know, this favors. You know, favors can be had.
If I do a guest spot on someone's record, I'm never going to charge them money. You know, I think the only time out of maybe like the 20 or 30 like guest spots that I've done that I've ever asked for money was when I went out to Chicago to work with a band, Beneath the Hollow. And it was that was me missing work. That's me like traveling to go out there. And then I did like production work on a song for them. That was the only time I've ever asked money. And trust me when I say it was minuscule. Like, it literally fucking nothing. And it wasn't even like a big deal to me. Like, I just wanted to be able to, you know, like try it, say it. And then all of a sudden it happened. It worked. The fucking song came out fucking awesome. And yeah, it was cool. Any other band that's ever asked me to do anything, just pay for my studio time. That's all I ask. Pay for my studio time.
That's great, man.
Because if you think about it, like if I go in there and if I do a session, it's going to be about 35, like $40 for me to do a session with my buddy AJ, who's in that band Half. And so I'll do a session with him, just cover my session costs. That's all I ask.
All right, and that's fair.
It's really not. I'm not in for the money. I'm not. It was always that one thing that pulled me out of some like dark places in my life. I'm not going to take advantage of it, and that's just the way that I see my life now.
Right. Totally fair. Who's your favorite guest? Who's your favorite band that you ever did a guest vocal for?
Animosity.
Okay.
Animosity. They were on I want to say they finished on Metal Blade, but they might not have. And I know they were on Black Market, the Guy Cosmick's record label for a little while.
All right.
But they had a record called Animal, and I did a guest spot on there, and it was just it was very, very cool. You know, those dudes were unique and musicianly, like those motherfuckers could play. They could fucking play.
Nice.
And that was just cool to be on something that was just like a lot different than anything that I was ever used to.
Nice. So, do you have any favorite riffs from any band you've played in? I mean, specifically A Life Once Lost, I guess. Any favorite riffs that like really get you going when you're on stage or just when you listen back to it?
I don't know. No, I think it was never the riffs. It was always, because the riffs always changed, you know, like it could be a riff this day, it could be something that day. But I think it was more of like me looking out in my blurred, terrible vision and seeing like the crowd go off. Like that's what made me go off. It was always the crowd interaction. That was the main reason why I wanted to be on stage was watching the singer and how he interacted with the crowd. And how the crowd just feeded off of this fucking dude.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's amazing. It's like watching Shaka from Burn, Orange 9mm. That was one of my first frontmen that I was like, wow, this is fucking insane. Tim from Vision of Disorder, the few times I saw them, it's so unexplainable if you weren't there. And it was that thing that just got me going. Carly Coma, Candiria. It was amazing. These dudes basically they worked the crowd. And later on, it was like bands like Lamb of God, like Brandy Blythe, Corpse Grinder, George Fisher from Cannibal Corpse. Like seeing those dudes, the way that they can work a crowd and how the crowd just feeded off of whatever he fucking did or whatever he said. That was always fucking awesome.
All right. So, on tour, how did you keep your voice in check? Like, did you lose your voice? Or did you have to have breaks in between shows? Like, when you were booking, did you have to make sure there was always days off?
I definitely lost my voice a lot. If I was sick, obviously I would lose it. If I was like hungover, throwing up for like 2 days, it was terrible. You know, all the acidity coming out of my stomach through my vocal, like through my throat, out my fucking mouth. Like I definitely fucked my vocal cords up. Maybe the first show, it would be the harshest. And then after that, it just kind of fell into that rhythm. It was almost like I had muscles built for it.
Mm-hmm.
And it just worked so fucking well. But no, I never really had any like crazy problems with it.
All right. And
recording was my fucking demon. Mm-hmm. That was one of the worst things that I've ever went through in my entire fucking life. And I wish that evil pain on no vocalist. And the only reason I say that is the Hunter record. You know, I wasn't, my thing was like rehearsal and then studio. And then coming into Hunter, man, I was so underprepared. I was having such a hard time going from like the Fourth Plague stuff to the A Great Artist stuff that it was just throwing me off. And I couldn't figure it out. I couldn't do it. I couldn't like get it for whatever reason. And I was probably only able to do a song a day. So however many songs were on there, and then on top of that, I would have to come back and redo parts that I've already done on that album. I would say every song averaged anywhere from like 500 to 600 takes on a fucking song for me. And those takes could have been just one word, and that one word 12 times kind of shit. It would just like, my voice was so fried. They were talking about giving me cortisone shots in my throat just so I could sing through it. It was bad. It was really, 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 really bad. But yeah, man, like live, it was never that thing. Like I could do it. I could probably still do it live. Now, I'm not obviously in the shape that I was in when I was doing it before, but I could definitely go back and I could definitely do it again.
Keep that conversation.
All right.
Where'd he go?
Yep, sorry about that. We had a battery issue. Anyway, though.
Sorry, man. My battery's about to die on my laptop.
Sorry, that totally threw me for a
Yeah.
second.
Yeah, we're good now.
Yeah, we're good. We had technical difficulties. But you worked with Melissa Cross, right?
Yes.
Yeah, and did that help you at all? Like, is that
It
like
did. It definitely did. It was like one of those things like where I never really looked at it like that. And she explained a lot of things to me that were never really explained before. The warm-ups definitely helped, like early on. It definitely put me in that place. The projection, when she talks about projection, that was always my biggest thing. My goal was to basically scream through your face when I played live. You know, like I wasn't, she talks a lot about like false chords and faking it. I never wanted to fucking fake it. I just wanted to learn how I can actually push my voice harder and then just use my, you know, my mouth, my tongue, my throat to be able to make all the weird fucking lows, highs, or my mid range. And that's how it usually worked for me. But that's the way that I've always lived my life is I would take the bits and pieces of what you showed me, not necessarily use 100% of what you showed me, but incorporate what I liked into something that I felt comfortable doing, into something that I enjoyed to do. You know, it was never about like, I was never, I could never do it the way she wanted me to do it.
Mm-hmm.
That shit was fucking.
Yeah, it seems like a very difficult instrument to keep up with for sure.
Yeah, I can't go to Guitar Center and fucking buy some new vocal cords and shit. And if I
Yeah.
could, I would already. I would have sounded like Danny Filth.
That's awesome. So these days you are like we talked about, you're doing Mindpower and Left to Vanish, but that's all just part-time for fun.
Yeah.
What are you doing as far as like your life work? Like we see that you're doing Uncle's Barbecue. Is that like a full-time job or is that what's up with that?
Not quite yet. Not quite yet. It's going to take me time to get to that point. It's a very, very, very expensive adventure.
Mm-hmm.
And that's also a very expensive hobby. Right now, I just do more private parties with that.
Mm-hmm.
I do work in a kitchen as a kitchen manager and at a local bar that I used to kind of frequent. I'm just trying to expand my resume as far as like knowledge of a kitchen goes right now. I'm learning how to make fucking pizzas, which is kind of badass.
Mm-hmm.
The kitchen stuff is fucking super easy. Like it's just cooking. Don't serve it if you're not going to eat it kind of vibe. That's kind of my motto. That's my MO.
It's a good rule of thumb.
Yeah, I mean, that's the way it should be, you know, like,
Yeah.
But that's, you got so many different types of people out there that some people come to work just to collect that paycheck. Some people come to work just because of the passion.
Right.
And they actually enjoy cooking. And that's what I learned very quickly on is that some people are just so fucking half-assed and it's so fucking annoying.
Yeah.
But, you know, like you do find those people that like really do care. I don't mind spending money on good food if it's good.
Right.
But, you know, a lot of the times like here, like, I won't eat there if I'm not working there. That's my kind of interpretation on it, unfortunately.
Yeah. So is that your thing now? You're going into the food industry? Is that like your plan to kind of dive head first into that?
Yeah. I was actually thinking about going to like a culinary, maybe taking culinary classes. But then again, I mean, my mind is so erratic that depends how the sun's, shining off my ass that morning for me to feel a certain way.
Mm-hmm.
I do really enjoy cooking, and I enjoy cooking for people. And my biggest thing is I love like watching them eat and then watching their face, what they make, and the sounds that they make and shit like that. And the constructive criticism is kind of harsh every once in a while, but that's just one of those things that I have to learn how to accept, and it's only there to help me. So,
Right.
Who
There's no
knows?
way
I mean,
you're pleasing everybody.
Yeah, well, that's the one thing that I'm learning now is that I'm never, ever, never in my life going to be able to please everybody, and it's been very clear working there, which is kind of fucking weird and wild, but it's still pretty cool, man. Like I just like cooking food. I don't want to go back to the union. I was a laborer in 332, and I just didn't like I didn't like the homophobia, the misogyny, the racism, the bigotry, all that shit. I'm not it doesn't really like vibe with me.
Yeah.
I'm more of like that positive dude. And I have my fair share of shit that I've done in the past that I'm absolutely fucking ashamed of doing. But you know, it's kind of realizing your mistakes in your life and being able to, you know, move forward or to change. And change is one of the biggest things, and anybody can change, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that's great, man. You definitely, I like the way you roll. You always do what, you know, you can have passion about, you know what I mean? Like the music and the food and all this stuff. Like you want something, you go for it. That's a great thing. And you definitely have a positive vibe about you.
Yeah. I mean, it's weird, you know what I mean? Like, I've been like depressed for like, you know, for a good portion of my life, probably since I was probably about 17, 18 years old. And it's just been always one of those things. And I'm probably the harshest critic, and the one person that beats me up the most is probably myself, just because I set such a fucking high standard of my living and things that I want to do and things I want to accomplish. And if I don't do it, and if I don't accomplish it, it fucks me up.
Yeah.
It really, really fucking, it destroys me. And it's just crazy. It's crazy. And people always come up to me. They're like, oh man, you shouldn't live that way, dude. Come on. And it's just like, how can you say that? I'm not you. So therefore I don't know how you live. Like, you have to understand that, like, we are all different. That's why we are people.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, we just have that different mindset that some things are just not okay. I'm not okay.
Right.
But I like to continue, like you said, like the positivity and the pushing. It's more of like the pushing. It's more making myself better until that time comes when I'm not going to be here anymore. You know, trying to, you know, create a legacy that's going to, you know, sit well in people's mouths, instead of having such a tainted, like, backstory that you hold the person of 2005, 2006, 2008, whatever year that you didn't like me. You still hold on to that, not realizing that I'm a completely different person, and you'll never know me. You'll never know the 2021 Bob.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like that's such an odd thing in human nature, is that you see somebody you didn't like at shows, and you're like, you still hold on to that one time when he kicked you in the dick. You know what I mean? Completely by accident, but you're still gonna hold on and be like, yo, that fucking Terry was a piece of shit. You know, like, but here's Terry, fucking family man, fucking great father, fucking, you know what I mean? Like you'll never get to know Terry because you hold on to that 2009 Terry when he kicked you in the dick in the pit. You know?
All right. That's one thing I say a lot is, like, when you lose somebody in your life, like, you just stop becoming friends with them, or you lose a relationship. Like, people change all the time. Like, 10 years ago, you're not friends with the same people you are now. And 10 years from now, you're not going to be the same. You're not going to be friends with the same people you are now. I mean, some of them, of course.
Yeah, I mean, there's always
like,
going to be constants throughout your life, but your general friend set.
Like, things are going to change. 10 years ago, things were completely different in my life.
Oh, yeah, without a doubt. Yeah. And to imagine, like, if things weren't different in your life, then you never progressed.
Absolutely, 100%.
Never learned from the stupid fucking mistakes that you fucking made. You know what I mean? And like I said, shit, man, I've made so many fucking stupid mistakes, and if I could take back all of them, I wouldn't.
Right.
I wouldn't. Because, like, if I didn't make that stupid fucking mistake, I wouldn't be the fucking person that's talking this conversation right now. And I wouldn't understand and realize that my actions when I was touring and my actions with women, my actions with my friends, my actions within my band, like, they all had repercussions, and they all came with baggage, and they all came and just fucked me up. You know what I mean? Right. I can't take them back. And as much as I would want to take it back, I don't want to, because fuck, man. Like, if I took him back, then I would lose that lesson learned.
Right. One thing you said there is like not being able to take back your lessons and everything, and like having no regrets, really. Like, I kind of feel the same way. And I mean, we're all parents here, so I try to take every lesson that I have with my son, like, or every bad situation I have with my son as a lesson. Yeah. And realize that he's a new human. But not only that, like, us at 32 and 30 are still new humans. Like, we still are learning shit every day, and until the day we die, we're going to be fucking shit up all the time. Making mistakes all the time.
Then you got to think, like, if you're not making mistakes, you're not taking those chances.
Right. Also, nobody's born with a user manual on their back. So, like,
exactly.
And who's to say what's right or wrong? Like, there's things that are obviously wrong, like don't fucking kill somebody, but like everything else, it's just kind of left up for us to figure the fuck out.
Always the obvious shit, but I mean, what's right for Bill, what's right for Bob, what's right for Vinny, isn't necessarily right for me.
Exactly. So if you look in envy at someone else's life and think that's what you need and that's what you should have and that's what you should want, that's the wrong mindset to have. Like, you're only gonna you can't live that way. You know, like what's right for you guys is not right for me, and what's right for me might not be right for you. But at the same time, we could sit down and we could have that conversation and be like, man, yo, Bob, I'm having this hard fucking time with this. How did you work it out? Now I tell you my story of how I worked something out, and you're like, holy fuck. I just needed someone to sit down and actually explain how they fucking did it, and how they were able to overcome that.
Yeah, right? We can't be one another. We can't take things, materially from one another, but we can take qualities from one another. You can share a lesson you've learned that can help me get through a shitty situation.
Exactly.
I think that's one of, like, the biggest human flaws, too. I hear a lot of people say, like, he shouldn't have done this or he shouldn't have done that. I wouldn't have done that. Well, it's like, fuck you. Like, I know you wouldn't have done that, but you're not them. And maybe they don't, yeah.
Yeah, no, you're exactly right. Like, and that's a thing where I'm learning in the kitchen. It's such a closed net community. Is when someone comes to me, and me being the kitchen manager of the place, and they want to sit there and they want to be like, oh, well, they did this and they did that. So what? Like I can't do anything about the fact that they're doing this and that they did it this way. And it's just life. Like, I can't, like, if I allow myself to get like that aggravated, that angry over something so minuscule, then it's going to ruin my day. It's going to ruin my week. It's going to ruin my month. I'm going to lose sleep. I'm not going to eat right. You know what I mean? Like, I'm so fucking worried and concerned about what these people either A are doing or B are saying about me. Like, that's one thing that I have to learn. And that's probably one of my hardest things I have to learn. Being in a life on slosh, like, you're under the microscope. Me being the promoter that I was back in the day, I was under the microscope. Like, now I'm in a kitchen where I'm front and center, where people come to me for questions and they expect fucking answers. And I don't have all of them.
Right.
A lot of it's fucking common sense. You know what I mean? If we got to make something, we got to do something, do it, make it, look around. There's always fucking work to be done.
All right, absolutely. So now that you're getting into the food industry, is there ever a chance you might want to tour again? Or is there, like, ever a thought in your head of, like, trying to go back to that life or trying to get a Life Once Lost back together? Like, has there been any conversations?
I will say that a Life Once Lost will never get back together.
No? Is there, like, a animosity between members, or is there just too much going on in each other's lives? Or
I just think it's something that multiple members are not interested in doing. They want to leave the past be the past. And I've actually talked about doing something with other members and just kind of coming out and doing it, but it would never be the same.
Right.
You know what I mean? If I look stage left, stage right, and I don't see fucking, Bobby C or Doug or Nick, and turn around and see Justin behind the kit, like, it just wouldn't be the same. It wouldn't be the same thing. I feel like I would be kind of tarnishing the name by just me not being able to let go of it, you know?
Right. Is that why a life once lost? Go ahead. I'm sorry.
And there was a period of time when we were actually talking about, like, you know, let's see if we can get a reunion together. Let's see if we can try to do something. Maybe we'll play like a handful of shows. That's right around the time that all the other bands from our time were getting back together and doing shit, you know, like we're like, oh yeah, let's fucking see if we can do it. We actually started writing another song and just fizzled out. People lost interest, lost motivation, lost esteem, lost everything to it. It just wasn't meant to be.
Is that why A Life Once Lost disbanded after A Static Trance? Because it wasn't the core members?
The last tour we did as a band was very, very hard mentally, financially on me. And it wasn't making sense. And that's when I started to see, like, people stopped caring. People didn't care. People didn't want to be around us, and people didn't want to be involved with it. And it was just a hard decision. And then there was also some stupid internal band shit that, you know, that I created, you know, and it just didn't end well. And it was just one of those things, like, it wasn't going to work. As much as Doug and I tried to force it to work, it just didn't make sense. It wasn't going to do it anymore. You know what I mean? Like, we just had to go and just let Doug kind of start his own thing, and which he did. And like I said, he's very, very successful with the other project he has now. You know what I mean? So why do something and hold on to something that's barely alive?
Yeah, it makes sense for sure.
Yeah.
So I hear a lot of metal dudes say that they don't really listen to metal. What are you listening to these days? And do you listen to metal, or do you not even?
I say maybe the only metal bands I probably listen to are Meshuggah. And I'll probably listen to that on a daily basis when I'm working in the kitchen. Meshuggah's a big one. I like that. I like a lot of old fucking like Kraut bands and stuff like that, like German progressive, like blues bands. I'm always a sucker for like the American blues scene, the right scene, not Stevie Ray Vaughan and shit. And then Beastie Boys has been on my playlist lately. I just put it on like Spotify, and I'll do like a Beastie Boys PlayStation. But I'm hearing like bands like fucking Stooges and Fugazi, Sonic Youth.
Nice.
I listen to listen to anything. I mean, you guys are where in Philly are you guys from?
Delaware County. Like
Okay.
We're all over Delaware County. Yeah.
Okay, so you might not get 103.3, that Princeton station.
No.
Okay, but that's
I've heard that in passing sometimes.
Have you?
Yeah.
If you're up like, you know, North Philadelphia area, you'll get the station. And I think it comes a little bit in Philadelphia, but not many places. But that's probably the only radio station that I'll listen to. It's on constantly, and they play everything from, like, you know, Saturdays. They got this guy Sangeet who comes on, and he does all these like Indian raga kind of tunes, and it's just fucking awesome. Hearing these vocalists, the rhythms, and all that shit. Like,
Yeah.
I always tried to be very eclectic with what I listen to. I'll give everything a chance. And when it comes to hardcore, I see a lot of people talking about that Turnstile band
Yeah.
and not liking them. But there's a vibe about that new album, about there's 3 songs he put out in the video for. There was a vibe to it, and it caught my attention. I'll jam that every once in a while.
Okay.
I've been on a Hall & Oates kick lately. You know, like I said, like I'm a little everywhere when it comes to music, but
That's great.
like
man.
when music's done right, music is good regardless of what it is. But I'll listen to metal. You know what I mean? Like, I'll give it a chance. What's that? Humanity's Last Breath. They put out that record Valve or whatever it is. Dude, that band is fucking sick.
Are they?
And again, I would probably, like, it's not something I would listen to, you know what I mean? But for some reason, there's a vibe about that record, and it's fucking it just sounds like the apocalypse, like something bad's about to happen, kind of thing. So,
And what are they called? Humanity's Last Breath.
Humanity's Last Breath, and the record's called BALDE, Vald or Bald.
Yeah, we'll have to check that out.
Yeah, I'll check that out.
Like massive, like monolith on the front cover. But yo, record is fucking like just heavy. And then also, it's a band that they'll never play live. It's a studio project.
Mm-hmm.
The guitar player has this like, I don't know what kind of fucking stupid pedal it is. I remember seeing it like a long time ago, but he can change like his notes, his chords. It just like changes automatically, type of thing. It depends how he's like.
He probably has the Variex, the Line 6 Variex.
Is it red?
I don't know, but the band 12 Foot Ninja, their guitarist, I forget his name, but he plays with that because they play in all different tunings. There's one song called Shuriken, or Sharik, I don't fucking know how to pronounce it, but he plays in 3 different tunings in the song.
Yeah, this is the same exact way this band does it. So like the heaviness is like, you know, drop Q or whatever. And then all of a sudden, like he does like a harmonic pinch or something like that, or like an up pick or down pick, whatever you want to call it, and it's like it just throws the note. It throws the whole song into a different fucking key, and then all of a sudden it's right back to that cue, and then it's right back to that. It's just all over the place, and it just allows this dude to do it, and it's amazing. It's the first time I've ever seen it. And you know what's funny is I've heard of 12 Foot Ninja, but I never actually like gave him a chance. I never listened to him.
Yeah, I'll have to send you one of the songs that's the 3 tunings in one song. But basically, with the guitar, you have to pair it with like a Line 6 pedal board, like either the Helix or like the HD Pro, and you basically don't even have to fucking tune your guitar. The machine just tunes it for you digitally, and then it's whatever tuning you want it to be at any moment, at any time. You hit a button and you're in a whole different tuning, whole different amp style. It's a pretty rad. Yeah, it's pretty rad. But I mean, I have
technology is pretty fucking awesome if you think about it. But at the same time, I feel like technology is taken away from a lot of like the natural sound of it, like triggers.
Right.
I've never ever really big trigger fan, but I'm not saying that. I've never played on a record that didn't have triggers, because triggers are what, like, you kind of need that. You need that, like, solid sound, like, going all the way through. It needs to be to be equal, like, the consistent, the constant kind of thing, you know?
And it almost needs to sound like a machine when it's on a record. Like, it needs to sound perfect.
Yeah.
But
So,
I mean,
like,
that's kind of what you strive for, because you want that perfect sound. Like when you go to a restaurant, and you want that perfect dish. Like everything has to be perfect.
Well, yeah, you want the perfect steak. Like, if you're not going to get the perfect steak, why are you going to fucking eat it?
Exactly.
Why are you going to waste your time?
Exactly. It's like anything you do. Why do I do it if I'm going to walk away feeling I could have done it better?
Yeah. So it's like you can relate it to anything in life. Like if you're a carpenter, like you want to build a house. Okay, cool. That's awesome. But will you build the perfect house? Will you allow yourself to build the perfect house, or will you just settle for whatever the house comes out looking like? You know, like I've always been that type of character where, like, it has to be fucking perfect. If it's not going to be perfect, then I'm not going to waste my time. I'm not going to do it.
Right. Good enough is not just good enough. No,
and that's been my fucking MO for my entire fucking life. And it started, like I said, when I wrestled. Like if I couldn't get this move down perfect, I'm not going to go out there and try to do the move in a match. It's kind of pointless. It's kind of defeats the purpose of like of all the hard work and all the shit that you fucking do with it. You know?
Yeah.
Right. I mean, especially when you're in music. Like I know you mentioned about being in competition with other bands, and like when you're on the road, it should be fun. But like in a sense, you kind of are in competition because you want those record sales. Without those record sales and with those merch sales and everything, like your career's finished. And the better way to get those record sales is to have a perfect sounding record and have everything sounding like a machine and everything polished.
Exactly.
Yep.
Exactly.
And if you're the band that doesn't want to do that because of your own like morals or your own ideas about triggers, let's say, you're sort of just shooting yourself in the foot if you're trying to make a career out of it.
It's like I said, like I knew we had to use them. Mm-hmm. Did I like using them? No.
Yeah, right.
But I knew we had to, because that was the only way sonically that record was going to sound fucking vicious and sound fucking massive. And holy shit, these fucking waves. I must have moved back like 6 times already.
Oh man.
I just put my shoes on because all these greenheads down here eat me alive.
Oh man.
Fucking flies.
Yeah, I fucking hate them. Fort Pike.
Where you at?
Wildwood today.
Wildwood, nice.
I was having days, you know. And I remember coming here like when I was a kid, and then like we would get in the fucking station wagon, and we would just come down. We would get like a motel room somewhere around here. We would never have a room booked. We would always be looking for one, and we eventually found one. And it just brought back some like nice memories. Like, you know, my dad passed away like 3 years ago, so it's just kind of needed one of those days just to feel like a kid again.
Yeah, right on. I think we all need those.
Yeah, man.
So let's bring it back to some like a fun question here. 5 albums you'd bring on a desert island.
5 I would bring on a desert island.
5 albums.
I would say I'd probably have to go Meshuggah Nothing in one of them. I'd probably go like a Howlin' Wolf, like a greatest hits of the Howlin' Wolf.
Okay.
I would go probably a Tribe Called Quest.
Nice.
All right.
But I can't pick a fucking record, but I'll say Tribe Called Quest album, and I could probably take any of them. I mean, they're all brilliant within themselves. I'm trying to think, so I have an eclectic collection here. You know what I mean? I don't want to listen to fucking death metal the whole time. I fucking hammer smash my face. Man, that's a tough question. Like I said, like when people ask me like my top 5s and top 10s, like it's so fucking hard because like it just depends my mood. It depends like what kind of where I want to take it, you know?
Right.
That's what we say about it too. It changes every day.
I feel like that's one of the hardest questions you can ask like a real music fan is like your top 5, because like I know my top 5 changes all the time too.
What do you want? My top 5 of metal? I'll give you my top 5 of metal. But if you want my top 5 all time,
all time, yeah.
That's impossible, dude.
Yeah.
It's impossible.
Yeah.
But I'll go probably Fugazi, probably either The Argument or Waiting Room.
Okay.
Probably even the instrumental one they did is a fucking banger. So I'll go Fugazi. I'll go Steve Miller Band Sailor record.
Hell yeah.
Nice.
That is a record. That's a record from start to finish. That's not a record with songs. That's not an LP. That is a record. It's kind of like like early days of like Pink Floyd, like metal and Obscured by Clouds. They were records. They were we went straight fucking through, and it just sounded fucking perfect every flight. Beautiful, beautiful album.
That was not meant to be consumed 3-4 minutes at a time. That was meant to be consumed as a whole.
Exactly. See, like Meshuggah Nothing, I can put that on from start to finish, not skip a track. Then again, it depends what kind of mood I'm in. Like Straw Split at Random is probably one of my favorite like Meshuggah songs of all time.
Okay.
But you know, it's just it all depends your mood that day. It depends how you wake up.
Are you still actively trying to find music these days?
Oh yeah, all the time.
Awesome, because I
always look for new bands. I always have like different things I wanted to do and I want to try. I'm really like I've always been obsessed with like grindcore. Like Discordance Access has probably been that could probably go down in a top 20 band list for me. Just that ferocity of it, like Enemy Soil, Pig Destroyer, California Love, and Charles Bronson, Spaz. Even the bands now, like the fucking the Regional Justice Center, that band Spy, Gulch, Zulu, like the California scene is fucking popping right now with fucking just awesome fucking bands, and it sounds like they're bringing it back to like that era of California bands I've really, really dug. You know, so I'm always all for that kind of shit. But I'll play anything. If I dig it, I'll try it. If I don't, I'll be honest with you. You know, like
Right.
I just have specific like sounds that I'm trying to chase after right now in my life before I hang it up. 'Cause I'm definitely running out of things to talk about. You know, and I was thinking that the other day when I was in the studio and I was telling this guy AJ who records me, and I'm like, dude, like, I'm literally running out of things to sing about. And he's like, well, yeah, you've been doing it for what? Since fucking 99. It's 2021 now. That's what, 22 years of singing, screaming into microphones, writing lyrics for fucking bands. I probably have close to over 100 like songs written lyrically. And it's, at what point do you run out, or do you just keep trying to find something? And I do writing exercises all the time where I can, oh no, I just got it this time. But yeah, I'm always trying to, I do a lot of like writing exercises where I'll, you know, read a book or I'll pull something out that I'd like to read. And, you know, I'll go through it. Obviously I don't memorize the fucking books, but I'll just kind of peruse through again, you know, open up a random page and just start reading. And then there's like a certain line that'll pop out at me. And then I'll write that line down and I'll kind of just like write off of that line. So that's always been a very strong like writing exercise for me when it comes to like just if I'm feeling a certain way or if I hear a line from a movie, like I'll jot it down on my phone later on when I'm sitting out at fucking work on like a cigarette break or something. I'll just start, I'll pull it up, I'll look at it, it'll make me feel a certain way, and then I just kind of go off on it and I just fucking go on a tangent, write a big, massive, long fucking piece, and who knows, I might have something in it, I might not.
All right.
I definitely have a lot of throwaway stuff, but I have a lot of stuff that I've been able to do and to, I had a lot of things to say based off of that, just that writing exercise for me. But that's just how I do it. Everybody's fucking different, so.
All right, absolutely. So we have this segment that we do called Fuckery of the Day, and currently our fuckeries have to deal with bands. Do you have any tour stories or anything you've never told before that you can consider absolute fuckery? Like the most insane shit you've ever done or seen, or...
We were touring. We played a show in somewhere in Colorado. Might have been Denver. I won't say the bands that we were on tour with, but we were touring, and we might have been the opening band. We might have been the second band. There was two headlining bands, so they swapped out days or something like that, some bullshit like that. This show, the headlining band was using our backdrop as a projection thing, so they would turn it around backwards. And then something happened with their big wig guy, their guitar player, and our guitar player. And it proceeded to we had an oil wheel light. And when this happened, we were then not allowed to use any of our lights, including the oil wheel light, at all. After this dick off happened between these two guys. And that's where I saw the competition start. That's where I saw like that's really like, that's kind of fucked up. And I just kept saying it in my head over and over. I'm like, that's really fucked up. Like you would do that? Like you would, like, I thought we were, again, like we were talking earlier, I thought we were all on this together, but apparently we're not. Like, you're just trying to go for those fucking sales while we're the opening band who needs all the fucking exposure, all the fucking help, everything that we can get, we need in order to keep fucking doing this you've already been doing it long enough. You're already well established. You're already drawing the people like what's up?
All right.
Kind of thing. And it just, dude, it fucking melted my fucking mind. And I swear to God, that was topic of conversation in our van, probably for a good like 10 days.
Mm-hmm.
Like it was literally like every day we got to the venue, like dude had a fucking start with the other dude, and then it just became like another fucking meet off. Like shut the fuck up, man. Like why can't you just shut the fuck up and just accept the fact that, you know, they don't fucking like us. They don't want us to fucking succeed.
Mm-hmm.
Let's just go out there and fucking do it anyway. And it took 10 days of convincing this fucking dude, and it finally happened. You know, like we dropped it. It is what it was. He went up later. He apologized to the dude. The other dude apologized to him. And I think maybe a week left in tour, they let us start using the light again. So
Shit.
there's that.
Yeah, that fucking competition bullshit.
Yeah, no, it's just shit, man. We've been fucking jumped on stage just for our Philly sense of humor.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like we've definitely been in fights. I definitely hit somebody with a fucking bat. There was like the bad times, and there was a whole lot more good times, but the bad times were fucking bad. Like, you know, first tour ever for Life on Sauce. We're coming home from we're on our way from Albany to Syracuse to go play a show, the last show of tour, and our van tire came off the back of the van, shot past us, sent us into a fucking screeching halt on the side of the road, where we then proceeded to live in a mall for 2 days until people could get up to pick us up. So we just would go to the mall. We would sell like shirts. We would sell CDs, whatever we could, just to make a little bit of money so we could like all fucking eat, you know, go somewhere. We would just buy like a big fucking thing so everybody could eat. But fuck, man, that was wild. I mean, shit, we've had blowouts where we've done 720s on the road with a 15-foot trailer, ended up in a ravine. And the only way that we didn't flip is because the fucking trailer tire just dug us up and pushed us up.
Oh,
It was some fucking scary fucking shit.
Oh, I could imagine.
Scary fucking shit.
Yeah, I remember.
We got pulled over in Compton.
Oh no.
When we were with Dave Mom Death, and the fucking police department basically impounded the bus because he had like a police scanner on it and all this shit, and a bunch of things were illegal on the bus. It was fucking wild. They literally just dropped the trailer. They told us to get all of our stuff out of there, and that was it. Like, we got fucking pulled over in fucking LA. I think I was smoking weed with the window open in the back of the fucking bus or something like that, and that's cops saw it. And they fucking pull us over, and I was like, Jesus Christ, like, what the fuck?
Everybody on the
like,
bus
all I heard
goes,
was,
damn it, Bob.
Over. Yeah, we're getting pulled over. And I'm like, oh, God, here we go, dude. It's gonna be fun.
That's crazy.
But, you know, we end up getting the bus back, and we've been pulled over many, 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 many times. We've been pulled over just for the way we look. You know, we've had cops, like, literally pull up next to our car and drop back and pull us over. You know, it's all profiling. It's all like, okay, we're going to find that big bus, bring the dogs out. Usually, I mean, everything that we had, we always did so well that it was never found.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we were pseudo professionals at smuggling drugs across state lines. So when I say drugs, it was only fucking weed. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, we never dabbled in like coke, heroin, pills, you know, mushrooms occasionally when we could find them. Like, if somebody had a hit of acid, obviously I'm going to take it. Or fucking, it was always weed. We were a drinking band and we liked to smoke weed.
Nothing wrong with that.
That was our pleasures.
Yeah, I think when I saw you guys at the First Unitarian Church, and this was back in 2005, that on your merch table, you had like a thing for tips and weed. I think that's what it said, tips and weed.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
I mean, we're at a point like we would go and trade like a T-shirt for like a couple grams or something like that. You know, like it was goofy. I know that shirt only costs like, you know, $4, and here I'm getting like a fucking eighth from some kid. You know, decent. We were all able to fucking smoke for like a couple days, you know, and on that, pretty much at one point, like all 5 of us were like heavy fucking smokers. And then eventually, like, it just kind of progressed. It was only like 3 of us that were the heavy guys. And there's always wild times there. Always wild.
I'm sure.
That's funny.
So I don't know how much more time you have to give us, but you want to join us for our fuckeries? You want to hear ours the stories that we found?
Wait, so say that again?
So I don't know how much more time you have, but if you want to, you can stay on if you want to join us for our fuckery stories.
Sure, I'll listen to a couple.
Cool. Vinny, start.
So I have one that was recent, and I guess like it's a big butthurt thing for some people that are, I guess, metalheads or whatever, and when you find somebody that wears a band's T-shirt, but they can't even name any of their songs or anything like that. So one of those stories came about. I don't know if you've seen it, but
the Kim Kardashian Cannibal Corpse shirt.
Yeah, that exact one. And then
That's
just
what I was thinking
just
too.
recently, Chris Barnes, ex Cannibal Corpse, kind of gave her the thumbs down on it.
Oh, of course, because he ain't making no money from it. That dude, I heard he was literally one of the biggest pieces of shit to fucking tour with.
Chris
One
Barnes?
of the big, oh God. I had a lot of fucking friends that toured with 6 Feet Under, and they said that he was just such a piece of fucking shit.
Wow.
And in what regard?
Dude, I can hold their opinions based on just their opinions alone. I never met the fucking guy.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
But I always heard nightmare stories about him ripping bands off, fucking stealing money, doing all this shit. Like,
That's terrible.
but yeah, no, I did see his comment about that though. I chuckled. I chuckled.
Yeah, you see that all the
Wild
time.
dude. Yeah.
And I don't know if it's like fashion designers who make these like vests and just put all these patches on it and then it looks cool. But like,
Yeah,
there's
like that. The fucking the Crimson Skull from the Misfits is fucking. How many famous like people have you seen wearing that shit? Like, and especially when, like hip hop artists now, they think it's like cool to wear these like shirts. I got a friend of mine who's like a SoundCloud like rapper, like a new age SoundCloud rapper, like vocoder voice thingy.
Okay.
It's fucking. But at the same time, he's trying. I don't like it personally. But he wears like a Metallica shirt, and I'm like, yo, give me a fucking a Metallica Ride the Lightning shirt. I'm like, yo, give me one of the songs off that album, bro. You can't do it. You can't fucking. And I sit there and I'm like, all right. Like,
if you can't give me 3 songs, you're not getting the shirt.
I should just take that. I should go and just cut the shirt off him out of spite. No, I would never.
all right, Steinman, what's yours?
That's funny, man. So I don't even know where I come up with some of these stories half the time, but this one, I got a good laugh out of this one. So this kid's working at, I believe it was a Wendy's. He's working the drive-thru. And you know what it's like, if you ever had a job there as a teenager or any fast food joint in general, if somebody comes in last minute, you got to serve them. If somebody pulls up to the drive-thru last minute, you got to serve them.
Right.
So
the customer's always right mentality.
Exactly.
Like, no matter what happens, like, you're wrong.
Exactly. So this kid, and this is a great story of friendship, by the way. This kid's friends pull up in, I forget what the article said. I want to say it was some kind of car that had a drum riser on it. I don't know if they built it themselves, whatever, but they bring a band. I don't know how many guys either, but they bring a band and they start playing in the drive-thru at closing time. They said, you're getting out of here on time tonight. So everybody's lining up to get food. Well, they block the little voice box where you're ordering, and they're just jamming out, man. So they get to close the store. Everybody else in the parking lot gets a free concert, and their buddy gets out of work on time. I'm like, dude, that's incredible. Why didn't we think of doing that?
I video, but I didn't know that was the whole premise around the video. I why they fucking closed it. That's actually kind of funny.
Yeah, that was the article I read anyway, man.
That's good friends right there, dude.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, shit, man. I think I put a show on at Polanco Park. Here comes my guitar player Doug, who worked at Taco Bell at the time. On his lunch break, drives down, runs in there in his Taco Bell uniform with a full fucking cup of Mountain Dew and like a couple bean burritos, and literally just starts fucking throwing them everywhere. Fucking dude. Okay. Moshes for like a good minute, 2 minutes. And then just fucking left and went right back to work.
What a brilliant idea.
Are you fucking serious right now? Now I got to clean this fucking shit up? But it was still funny as shit.
Yeah, that's awesome.
That's great, dude. Now that's a good way to spend your work break.
Yeah. When's the last time you went to, like, you're like, okay, yeah, I'm taking lunch break, and then you fucking show up at a show, and here you are fucking moshing and shit.
Just
Fucking
launching
great,
bean
all kinds
burritos
of
at people.
Yeah, throwing a bean burrito at some girl's face or something.
That's too good. Anything else, guys?
No, man, I think that's
All right, Bob. Hey, we appreciate your time, man.
Thank you so
thanks
much,
for
man.
thanks for everything.
Yeah, man, anything, dude. If you guys ever need me again or want to talk a little bit more, dude, I'm always down to fucking chat. I like talking.
I'll send you that 12-foot ninja video too that I was telling you about.
And we want to come. We want to come
please
eat.
do. I want to watch it.
We want to come eat too.
Yeah, we want Uncle's barbecue.
As soon as it's up and running, I'll obviously I'll fucking throw it up online. I'll let everyone know. Hopefully it's sooner than later. That's all I can say about that.
Hell yeah.
Just get finances together. Once I get that, sky's the limit.
nice,
Understood.
man.
Awesome.
Yeah, if
Yeah,
you're
we'll-
still doing private parties and stuff like that, I don't tell a lot of people, but I work for Villanova University, and we plan parties up there
really?
and stuff. So, if you want to shoot me your info, I'll throw it in the hat. You know, I can't promise they'll pick you or anything, but you can at least be one of the people that they're looking at.
Yeah. It's like I said, the only way that I can get around it is to make it private. It's not open to the public.
You probably need a lot of
The health-
permits and shit, right?
Well, the biggest thing for me is the health insurance. So like me going out in the public, like if I don't have health insurance, I get somebody sick, I'm losing my house.
Right.
Type of thing. That's why I try to keep it like private parties of people that I know, so that if I get somebody sick, they can just yell at me later.
Yeah. Gotcha. All right. I mean, dude, they're going to want insurance, but like if you get set up to that point, like I said, I'm more than happy to throw your name in that hat whenever.
Oh fuck yeah, dude. Yeah, definitely. Like I said, I'm in the beginning crawling stages of everything right now. I have a few thousand like kind of set aside, so it's just getting all my ducks in a row and then fucking tackling it.
Well, that's awesome, man. I wish you the best of luck with that. I hope everything works out, as good as possible and beyond.
Thank you very much, man.
Of course.
I had a good time, guys. Thank you again.
Yes,
Thanks,
absolutely.
man. Stop
Bob.
back anytime.
Take it easy, brother.
I will.
Later, man.
Later.
All right, everybody, that's it for us. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, hit the notification bell. Follow us on Facebook at the Hollow Chord Podcast, Instagram at the Hollow Chord Podcast, and Twitter at Fuckery of the Day. You can find us, our podcast, on Spotify, iTunes, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, basically wherever you can find podcasts. You done slamming doors now there, buddy? Just talking to